Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, there once was a cowboy who thought he had 100 cows, but he only had 97. So he rounded them up. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Wild Tiled West from Direwolf.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
In Wild Tiled West from Direwolf, 1 to 5 players take on the roles of various cowboys as they attempt to build up their towns, chase some bandits, wrangle up the cows, and all sorts of goofy cowboy deeds. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're going to set out kind of the main board. It's going to kind of have river spaces and land spaces. You're also each going to get your own player board. Now, your player board has kind of a map. Now, there's different shaded parts which represent towns, and you're trying to cover up these towns. The more towns you can cover up, the more points you can get. Now, in addition to your player board, you'll also have a mining board, and you'll have the ability to get some partner cards. More on that later. Now, depending on the number of players, you will have some 20-sided die that you will roll, and they will either represent land spaces or the river spaces. So what you'll do is whoever turn it is will roll all the die. You will then place the die next to the specific places on the board, either land or river that is kind of numbered adjacent to them. Next, the person whose turn it is will begin a drafting process. Essentially, they can look at any space next to where that die has landed, and they can take a tile from one of those spaces, removing the die. There will also be the opportunities, in some instances, you can actually pay gold to kind of move past where that first tile would be to the next tile and take it. Now, players then are placing these tiles on their board. Now, again, they're trying to cover up their towns. Now, you do have a scoreboard in which you have different spaces that represent kind of a full round. And if you kind of can cover up a town on the first round, you get a bunch of bonus points and then less bonus points with each new full round that occurs. Now, there are certain spaces on the board you actually cannot place, certain things that will prevent you from placing there. But there's a lot of places where you actually can place the tiles. And depending on what you place them on will allow you to do different things. For instance, if you place on a pickaxe, you can actually move up on the mine track. Now, if you move up on the mine track, this is going to give you access to more gold. It may give you access to more bonus points as you move up, and it may give you access to more partner cards. Again, more on that later. Now, when you put down tiles, if they have things on them, some things on them, you can claim them, like bullets. But also, too, there's other things you can do. For instance, you'll have a lot of pastures that have cows on them, and you can actually create kind of large interconnected cow pastures. And then, if you choose to, you can wrangle them, gaining points for as many cows as you've got in there, with a few special rules. Now, critically, too, you've got bandits on the board. And bandits are bad guys. You don't want them on your board. So how you get rid of them is you can place tiles that have sheriffs on your board. Now, when you place these sheriffs, if you place them in such a way as they have a clear line of sight, no matter the number of spaces, orthogonally to a bandit, and then you have a bullet, you can shoot that bullet at the bandit. You then place the bullet on top of the bandit, and it becomes their tombstone. If you cover up a gold piece, you may get gold. You've also got horseshoes. If you don't cover them up, you'll lose points at the end of the game. Now, at the end of every full round, you will have a tussle. If you have a tussle, essentially, who's ever got the most bandits is going to suffer some penalties. Now, you do have partner cards. And partner cards give you kind of interesting and unique ways to score that is different from other players. There's also some other little fun and interesting goodies here with the partner cards. So when you get the opportunities to claim them, you'll have the ability to look at like 3 that are already there and take one, or you can draw one off the top of the deck. Now, once you've completed the 4 rounds of the game, you go to scoring. As I say, if you have any horseshoes on your board that are uncovered, you will lose 1 point for each. You're also going to score any pink buildings you placed on the board. They're specifically designed for endgame scoring. You're going to score, I believe, 2 points for every tombstone or bullet that you've placed on the board. There's also a little mini game within the game that you can actually collect suits of cards. Depending on how many suits of cards you've collected within what you've covered up, you can gain points that way as well. You score the points you've got from your miner, how far up your miner has gone, and then finally you score points from any of your partner cards that you've successfully completed over the course of the game. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. Wild Tiled West. So this game comes to us from Paul Denon, who designed Clank, Dune Imperium, some really good games. And this game is interesting. It's got a lot of different little systems here. Of course, you've got, as I say, the drafting for tiles, the tile placement. You've got some card play, a lot of different little interesting systems at work here. So the other night, my friends and I went ahead and we played this game, and it was pretty interesting. First of all, how quick it moves. It feels like it's a pretty quick moving game here. It's interesting. Any kind of tile placement game I enjoy. I have fun with it. I wouldn't say they're my favorite kinds of games, but I generally enjoy them, and I like some of the fun ways in which placement works here, because you're trying to cover up things to gain stuff, but then if you just place stuff, you can get stuff, and then some things you place that you still have to take an action with to score them, or to claim something for them, or you're placing some things just to wait until end game scoring. So there's a lot of differences and unique, as I say, unique systems involved here in how those tiles will ultimately give you points. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty clever. The the dice drafting system I liked quite a bit too. I thought it was fun where in theory you can just take what's next to it, but you can pay gold and maybe go a space further to take something else. I thought that was pretty interesting. Gave you a little bit of choice, and sometimes, of course, you're kind of stuck with I don't know, I just don't have anything good that's really going to benefit me. And then, of course, there are those moments where you're going third or fourth or whatever, and you're just praying. There's something you need, and you're just praying someone else does not take that die and its associated tile. You're just hoping that does not happen, and it happens frequently. The game, one of my friends actually said that it was kind of a reverse worker placement game. Instead of placing workers on a board, you were taking the tiles from the board, and you only one person really could do it per turn for a specific tile. So I thought that was a very interesting observation, and it was. I mean, it's true. You are competing for those spaces, and that's, to me, probably. I mean, I really like the way you're actually putting the tiles on the board, but I really like that competition for the tiles. I thought was quite well done here. Generally, I like the cards too. You got some decent artwork, anthropomorphic animals, and just the ways you can score, add a little spice and sugar, and you can knock people out in interesting ways. That is to say, you can. They think they're ahead, but you've got some killer scorecard that can really boost you up, and you don't know quite what cards people are holding. I mean, you can keep an eye on what's available and what they take, but generally speaking, you're not keeping track of all that, and some of these things can really screw with you at the end of the game, which is fun. It gives you that spice and sugar here. So I really had fun with this game. I'll tell you right now, I really enjoyed Wild Wild West. I played a 4-player game, and the people I played with, I got the impression they liked it. They didn't love it. They thought it was fun. I think I walked away from it liking it more than they did. And I should point out, I came in dead last. I screwed up early on. I was trying to be clever, and it didn't work out for me. It was entirely my fault. But I still had a lot of fun with it. I still thought it was good. I think maybe I think maybe some of their objections were perhaps it went on a little bit too long for the fun it created. But I don't know. I liked it. I got a kick out of it. I think it really came together in a nice little package that was not terribly hard to learn. and not terribly hard to teach. It felt just like a good, solid game if you like tile placement, if you like, drafting in that sense. And I thought it was good. I know they did say that they felt the die rolling got a little tedious and placing the die, and I can see their point there. I didn't have much of a problem with it. So I'm trying to be upfront with you and say I really did enjoy this one. They thought it was good, not great. But it is my review channel, so I'm going to say if you do like tile placement, if you do like drafting, if you do like these sorts of things, I think you're going to get a kick out of Wild Tiled West. Recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Wild Tiled West is buy it. Well, thank you once again for joining us on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history, books on history. I post some of my lectures on there. I would ask you to please check that out. Please subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. Also, we'd ask you to leave a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. Now, if you are a fan of the channel and you like the content we bring you here, we would humbly ask you to go ahead and click on the Super Thanks button on this YouTube page and leave a tip. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I recently spent $100 on a belt that didn't even fit. Huge waste.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love the
I know what you're thinking. Why aren't you in the rest of this video? What do you think, my life is all candy canes and popcorn dreams? I have a job!